All right, good evening. Those of you joining live, or if you're watching this now, you're probably watching the replay. Hopefully, some of you will be joining. I hope as you join that you'll put in the comments where you're joining from. I always love seeing where you are joining from. Most of my subscribers are in the US, but I know I've had a lot of folks from outside the US too. So last time I did this, I had some tech challenges. So halfway through fixing the meal, my audio went out. So I'm going to listen in on the laptop, and it looks like it's still going. So I think we're good as far as that goes. So cool. All right. So if you've grown up without your dad, then you're in the right spot. That's how I grew up, and there's some challenges with that. One of those is that you might not have the opportunity to have dinner with your dad. So we're going to remedy that with this one, hopefully. Maybe we'll do this occasionally, we'll see. But tonight we're going to fix dinner and then have dinner together. And it's not fancy, especially on the day after Thanksgiving, because most of you probably had a turkey dinner yesterday. If you didn't, the leftovers are fantastic. I got a fridge full of them. But tonight we're going to have gourmet grilled cheese. And I use that tongue in cheek. It's nothing gourmet about what we're going to do. This is going to be basic, but there's some reasons that you want to fix your own meals. One is you're going to spend more money. If you get a job, you get some money, and you get hungry, it's so easy to go to McDonald's or whatever fast food place you like and buy some food. You're going to pay a lot more for food that way, and it's generally less nutritious than what you're going to have. So there's other things other benefits from cooking your own food. So if you haven't learned how to cook, that's what I'm encouraging you to do, even if it's something basic like what we're going to do tonight. And that is grilled cheese, because you'll get confidence as you get comfortable cooking for yourself. It's going to be more nutritional. You'll save money. We already mentioned that. You're going to also have some opportunities to maybe impress your girlfriend once in a while by fixing a meal for her. If you invite her over, that will impress a lot of people. So I see some of you jumping on. If you don't mind, I want to make sure the audio is coming through for you. And if you would put in the comments, type in the chat where you're joining from. I'd love to see that too. We're going to go ahead and get started tonight. So we're going to make grilled cheese. What you need for grilled cheese is bread. I haven't staged anything because my idea was that you can do this yourself. If you've got the ingredients, put them together, get them. You can follow along with me while I'm making them. You can make yours at home while you're watching, if you want to. Need to grab the cheese, which is over here in the fridge. And so here's the cheese. We've got the bread. We're going to need a pan. I had a decent lunch, so I'm not going to have 2 sandwiches. I'm only going to have 1. I don't need a very big pan for that, so I'm just going to use this small one. And we'll need butter. Particularly in the winter, I leave the butter out on the counter because it's softer that way. If you keep it in the fridge, it's going to be harder. It's harder to spread on butter. Now, besides just the grilled cheese sandwich, if you're fixing a meal, it's a good idea to have more than one item in your meal. Tomato soup is a very complimentary thing to have with grilled cheese sandwiches. So we're going to heat a can of tomato soup and have that go with our grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, so jumping into it. Oh, a couple of pointers when you're cooking. Whenever you're cooking, make sure you start with a clean kitchen. If you've got dishes in the sink, make sure you wash those up first. I like to have, if you got clean dishes in the dishwasher, put those away so you've got a place to put your dirty dishes as you make them. Food tastes better in a clean kitchen. Always remember that. It just tastes better. If you're fixing your meal and you know you're creating a big mess that you're going to have to deal with later, it's kind of a downer for wanting to cook. So as you develop the habit of cleaning as you go, it's not so bad. All right, back to the tomato soup. So this is just canned tomato soup. Happens to be Campbell's. I'm going to dump that in. Get some milk. You can mix it with milk or water. I'm going to do milk in this one. Can of milk. Pour that in. Now, let me show you what it looks like, which you probably know what it looks like, but it needs to be blended, but it'll blend better with heat. So I'm going to turn the stove on to kind of low, medium heat. And when you're cooking, I always get a little plate out to put your spoon on. So we'll need a spoon to stir with. And I'll just mix that up a little bit. Try not to spill too much. We are cooking grilled cheese and tomato soup. We're going to have grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup. I know that's anticlimactic after Thanksgiving dinner, but this channel is geared for young men growing up without a dad. Now, everyone is welcome, whether that's you, whether your dad's been there but not that involved. We're going to make grilled cheese sandwiches and tomato soup tonight. Let me put the milk away. I'm going to put the lid on here. And I did spill a drop, so I'm going to wipe that up with the washcloth. Now we're going to start on the grilled cheese sandwich. Grab a plate for that. All right, I'm going to try to keep an eye on these, and I love the comments. Let's see. Jesden Woodruff, hey, I'm glad you're here. Boy, I don't know about the rest of your last name, but and I don't think you're the only one on here. I show a little bit more than just one. Okay, let's get started then with the grilled cheese. So you can pick what kind you want. We generally get mild cheddar because that's my wife's go-to flavor of cheese, and I like it too. Now you can use sliced cheese if you want, but when I'm making a grilled cheese, I like to have it cut myself by hand because you can make it a little bit thicker and you can cut shapes that you want. This is the worst part about getting it out because it sticks. And I was determined to do this live stream live so that you can get a pizza, but you're going to spend more and it's not as nutritious. Okay. I've got, sorry, don't want to keep walking off screen, but I wanted this to be the real deal. So I didn't start with staged anything. So here's the cheese. I got a cutting board. Yeah, that's on there. Now I get a knife out. And I'm only doing one sandwich because I had a big lunch, so I'm not that hungry. So a couple pieces of bread. And in the clean as you go mode, I'm going to put this back where it goes, which is over here. Check the soup. Stir the soup. So how was your guys' Thanksgiving? Did you guys get some turkey yesterday? And stuffing and potatoes and all that good stuff? Okay, let's see how well I can do. Let me change the camera angle so you can see the stepdad technique, which probably isn't even the best way. One of the nice things about starting a YouTube channel and posting on it is people will give you pointers and tips. So that's kind of a thick slice there. It's probably a little thicker than I should have. It gets tricky cutting cheese that's at the right thickness, but that's probably what I would need. So if I put those on here, oh wow, that's too much. Okay, that's going to fill it. So I'm going to cut this down a little bit. I just cut the angles off to fit the bread. Whoa, that's still big. We're going to go with it though. All right, so that's what it looks like. You can eat those pieces. Now, put it away. So in the clean as you go fashion, we're going to put that away because we're done with it. It's a new block of cheese. But it will dry up. Let me go back to here. It'll dry up on that open end if we just stick it back in the fridge. So I'm going to put it in a different bag and keep that closed. So look at that. All right, just checking the comments here. So if you're hungry, then you could be doing this along with me. So get some bread, get some butter, get some cheese, and frying pan. And we're going to start cooking this in just a minute. All right, cheese is going back in the fridge. Now, when you're cooking something like this, if you're frying it, it's kind of nice to, I better show you this, to preheat the pan a little bit. Don't just, well, actually, my wife, oh, I thought I turned it around. My wife will, so make sure you turn it on the right burner, front burner. I'm going to go to medium heat. She'll often just put it on cold and let it go until it heats up. I think it's better generally, to have it preheat a little bit before you put the sandwich on. All right. Okay, now we're going to butter the bread. You don't have to put oil or grease or anything in the frying pan because you're basically putting it on the bread. So we're just going to take some butter and butter generously on this side. Now, if I turn it over and try to butter the other side right now, then I'll put butter on the board or the plate or whatever I'm buttering it on. So we'll butter the other side once we put it in the pan. So I'm going to give that a minute to warm up over here. Hope you guys don't get dizzy with me moving the camera. But while I'm waiting for this to heat up, which it is, I'm going to stir the tomato soup. How many of you guys like grilled cheese sandwiches? And maybe the bigger question is, how many of you guys like tomato soup? It's probably not that many, but it actually goes really well with grilled cheese sandwiches. I see one question, Armin Torres. I am not a stepdad. I've just kind of nicknamed myself stepdad. I grew up without a dad. And so I started this YouTube channel for young men, primarily guys that have grown up without a dad. And my last name starts with S-T-E-P. So I just figured I'd call myself stepdad. Okay, the pan is getting warm. I've got the sandwich with the cheese on the inside, cut generously. We're going to go put that in the pan, and then we'll butter the other side. So, well, this is not as gracious as I would do it, but since I'm my own cameraman. So it's pre-warmed. I can feel it. The heat's coming off. Put that down. Grab some more butter for this one. Now that that side's down, now I can butter this last slice. Now, if I was doing 2 or 3 or 4 sandwiches, I would have all of them prepped and a bigger pan, and then I would put them on the bigger pan. So now it's a matter of time. I don't know if you can hear the sizzling. starting to cook. I'm going to turn the stove down just a tad. If it heats too fast, let me back this up. Oh, I got another light here. If it heats too fast, then the bread will burn or toast before the cheese melts. So you don't want it too hot, but you don't want it too slow either. So we're going to let that go for a minute. And while that's cooking, is a good time to clean up a little bit. So if you clean as you go, it helps you not have that messy kitchen that you have to deal with after you're done cooking. Done with the knife, done with the scissors. Actually, I'm not done with that knife, come to think of it, because we're going to cut that sandwich once we take it out. All right, now we want to keep an eye on it so it doesn't get too done. That has been one of my biggest challenges for cooking is I like to try to multitask, and consequently, sometimes the food gets too done while I'm multitasking. Okay, tomato soup, let's test it. And I have washed my hands, so it's getting warm. Ooh, that actually tastes pretty good. We're going to check this and see how the bottom is looking. Ooh, it's good and golden. I don't know if you can see that just around there. We're going to flip that. Ooh, warm too, by design. Now, hopefully, I'm going to turn it down just a little bit because I don't want to, I'm a little bit at risk of what I just told you is that if I cook it too fast, then the cheese in the middle won't be soft and melted, and that's what makes a grilled cheese sandwich so nice. Now, if you wanted to kick this up a notch, you can put some meat in there too, like thinly sliced sandwich meats, ham or turkey or something like that. I posted a video last week about a toasted ham and cheese. In fact, it was a Swiss ham and cheese sandwich, and some of the toppings I put on that one. So you can do that with grilled cheese too, but we're just doing the basics tonight. All right. Let's see. How to shave. I'm just seeing a couple comments go. Can I teach you how to shave? I've actually got a video on how to shave. If you go look for the link on the channel, then you can see that. Another thing I do on a lot of videos is I'll do a morning shave video where I'm shaving, but I'm usually talking about something, challenges that young men face without dads, or that people face that have grown up without a dad, or just challenges in life. And you can watch me shave there, so you can learn by watching in that case. Okay, speaking of watching, I gotta make sure we don't overdo this side. Okay, that's looking good. And the cheese is soft, but it's not as soft as I want it. So I'm gonna turn it down so I don't burn the bread, over toast it. And I'm gonna turn the tomato soup up because it wasn't quite as warm as I want it to be when we're ready to eat. So another thing you can do while you're waiting is maybe set the table. If you're going to sit down and eat, which is a good way to have dinner. We often eat in front of the TV because there's pretty much just me and my wife. I call her stepmom, not because she's my stepmom, but just kind of how I've named us for you guys. When I was a young man growing up and my dad wasn't there, there was a guy in my neighborhood and his name was Mark Gould. And he was what I would call my stepdad. He wasn't literally my stepdad. He was this guy in the neighborhood, and he helped me with a lot of stuff, like showing me how to change brakes, like showing me things around the house. We went camping. He'd take me camping with him, stuff like that. So my goal with this channel is largely just to kind of pay back what he did for me, for those of you guys growing up without a dad now. So you can have some of those experiences vicariously with me through YouTube here. All right, I'm still waiting for the cheese to melt. It's getting soft. I'm waiting for the tomato soup to heat up. It's probably about there. Oh, actually it is there. I'm gonna turn turn the stove down now because I don't want it to burn on the pan. That's another risk, is if you don't stir stuff or you get it too hot, it can burn onto the bottom of the pan, and that's less than ideal too. Okay, I'll turn this again. So the bread is just about perfect on this, and I can tell the cheese is getting soft too, so we're about ready. So it doesn't take long to fix yourself a meal if you want to do that. So there's a lot of different things that are easy to cook. You don't have to go with cold cereal. You don't have to go with pizza from your favorite pizza place. And you don't have to get stuff that just goes from the freezer to the microwave and to you. Those are all convenient, but it's not a lot harder to fix your own food. And it's usually better for you. It usually costs you less money. And it feels good when you're getting more independent, more capable to live on your own and live to adult, basically. All right, I'm going to dish up some soup because I think it's warm enough. So got the bowl here. I know I'm way over there. That way you can't see if I spill. All right, we're going to pour some in. And the reason we're doing tomato soup is because it complements the grilled cheese sandwich pretty well. All right, I've already got the stove off, but I'm going to put this on a cold burner because I don't need, where's the lid? Over here. I'm not going to have more than a bowl full. We're going to sit down and have dinner in just a minute. So if you've got more questions that I can do my best to answer, I will do that. Okay, you can't see me. I'm walking around to put this on the table. We got that there. Now the sandwich, let me bring you back. So it's a little bit darker. But it's not bad. So this is still good. Oh, that's a little dark. Dang it. It's a problem with live. But the cheese is soft now. Okay, we'll turn the stove off. Now, if you ever do this where you've got one side done more than the other, presentation is everything. So you always put the darker side down. That way, if you're serving to someone else, they won't know until they pick it up. And if you're serving it to yourself, you can psych yourself into thinking that you did a perfect job. This one's a little less than perfect, but it's not bad. This is not burned, it's just darker. All right, so now we've cut that in half. Nice melted cheese. Put it on a plate. In the spirit of cleaning as you go, which you're going to hear me say, you're never done until you've cleaned up. We're going to set this over here because we are done with that. We will let the stoves cool. So over there, the pan can just cool. The stoves are off. We should be good. We're going to go around and have dinner now. Oh, one thing you need when you're eating grilled cheese, at least if you're me, is ketchup. I'm grabbing the ketchup out of the fridge. All right, we started this at 5 o'clock. It's 5:22 in Mountain Time, which is where I am. So in 20 minutes, you can have a hot, cooked meal. Now I'm violating my own rules because I have the darker side up. So I will turn it over. Ooh, look at that cheese. But we got the cheese melted. That's a good thing. We could even put the two dark sides on the inside. And then they're not there. Need a napkin. Oh, out of napkins. We'll have to use a paper towel. Give me 1 second because I'm going to move my laptop over. I can see the questions a little bit better in my laptop. Okay. I got the light behind me. Guess I can turn that off. All right, so if you guys fixed your dinner while I was fixing mine, then we can have dinner together. And let's see how it tastes. I'm not too worried because I know how all the ingredients taste. This is good. It works. Some people will dip in the tomato soup. And that's okay too. It's actually good. I like to do a little ketchup to dip it in. All right, now while we have dinner, let me look at some of the questions, see if there's any I can answer. And I'm glad you guys have joined and stuck with me while you're doing this. Again, my goal is that you'll get comfortable fixing your own food. So if there's something you want to make together, let me know and we'll do this. Okay, I'm going to back up to some of the earlier questions. Can I order you a pizza? No, we just talked about that. Fix your own grilled cheese sandwich. You can do it. That is a big block of cheese. It was brand new. That's how you make a sandwich. Yep. Again, this is not too hard. This is pretty simple, but it doesn't take long, and it's a lot better than something out of the freezer that you just throw into the microwave. And generally, it's going to be better for you nutritionally. Grilled cheese sandwich is probably not the best nutritional meal. Answered that one. I'm not a stepdad. Yeah, I'm a step bro. One of hairline and I don't get that one. How to shave? Yeah, I mentioned that one. Why don't girls like me? All right, that could be a broad question, Lincoln. I don't know you, but I just did a couple of videos on ways that you can meet girls and ways to get their phone number. But if you've already tried that and you're not having success, you might have to be honest with yourself and possibly seek the feedback from someone that you trust that knows you. It'd be hard for me to answer that question for you because I don't know you. I could give you some ideas and some pointers. And in general terms, if there's no girls that are attracted to you, well, let me ask, do you have guy friends, boyfriends, that just friends that you hang out with? Because if you don't have general social skills, if you haven't had opportunities to do that, you need to work on that first. I was going to have a copy of my book up here and I didn't bring it. I've written a book for you guys that are growing up without a dad. It's called The Map to Manhood. There's a link in the description, so you can click on that and see the book. I sat down and thought about, all the things that, all the lessons that you're most at risk of not getting, excuse me, if you grew up without a dad. And I put them in four categories. One was self-discipline. You're less likely to learn self-discipline. Another one is social skills. You're less likely to develop social skills. And some of that comes from not having a dad there, but some of it comes from the times we live in. There's so much online stuff that you don't have to go meet with people face to face. And that's a challenge for when you're going to have to, because as an adult, you're going to need to do that. That's part of life. And frankly, it's a very fun and fulfilling part of life. But for a lot of people, they get social anxiety, they're worried about it, and they don't develop the skills or get comfortable interacting with other people. So if you don't have friends of both genders, then you might be lacking in social skills. So when you say that, why don't girls like me? Think about the kind of person that you want to be attracted to you. So there's a girl, put a girl in mind who it is you want, or a guy if you're a girl watching, and that's great. What is it you think they're going to want in a boyfriend or girlfriend? If you think they're looking for a certain attributes, characteristics, do you have those yourself? If you don't have those yourself, well, then that's maybe something you can work on. Start practicing. If you're out of shape, maybe you can start exercising. If your hygiene is not that great, well, maybe you can work on that. If you eat in front of other people and talk with your mouth full, maybe you can work on that. I guess it's tricky to try to do a live stream while you're fixing dinner and having dinner with your step family. Okay, those things are a little off topic. Oh, I got my earbud in just to make sure I've still got audio. So those things are a little off topic from fixing dinner, but that's why you want to have dinner with a family. That's one of the things you don't get to do often these days is dinner with family, because that's when you get to talk about stuff like this. All right, Herman. Is it Herman? Behind on mortgage payment, tough times. I get that. Should I go with bankruptcy? Okay, finances and stuff. Herman, I wish I could put a link. I'll try to put a link. If you go for a search on the channel, I do have a video on money management. Let me get to your first question. Should I go with bankruptcy? I would use that as a last resort. It is an option. You can do that, but I would use it as last resort. It will kill your credit for 7 years. You won't be able to qualify for another mortgage. You won't be able to qualify for other home or car loans or other things like that. Besides the fact that, if you got yourself in these obligations, do everything you can to meet those obligations. Having said that, you might need to at some point. And, if you do, then you can do that. But talk to more than a bankruptcy attorney. I mean, you're asking that question here now, so that's a good question. And I know how stressful it is to be worrying about money, because that's a worry for a lot of people. But if you go for bankruptcy and you don't change your spending habits, it's not going to help. So you've got to get your spending habits in line first, or your money management habits. So do the best you can to increase your income, get your hands around what your current expenses are, cut every expense that you possibly can, prioritize those, which is a roof over your head and food on the table for you and your family. And it's not a fancy car, and it's not streaming services, and it's not video games or whatever else. It's certainly not fast food or eating out. You got to cut all that stuff out, and then track where your spending goes. As you track it, you're going to see, and you'll catch yourself before you run out of money, instead of spending yourself beyond what you've got already. You need to do those whether you do the bankruptcy or not, because otherwise you're just putting off the inevitable. Now it looks like either my chat stream is ended, or that's all that has come in. So I hope that has been helpful. I'm not going to make you watch me eat all of this, but I hope you get a sense of that you can cook for yourselves, learn how to cook. If you haven't, then start learning how to cook your own meals. It's not hard, it's fun, it's fulfilling, it costs a lot less money. And if you fix dinner for your date, it's going to impress her. Remember to clean up as you go. As soon as I'm done here, I'm going to clean up the dishes, because it's just so much nicer to live in a clean house, and particularly in a clean kitchen, because we eat multiple times a day. You don't want to do it in a messy kitchen. It's much nicer to do it in a clean kitchen. If you've enjoyed this, if you'd like to do more of it, then let me know. Let me know what things you'd like to fix dinner with, and we can have dinner with Dad again next month and fix something different. If there's other questions you've got that I can help you with, then don't hesitate to ask them. This channel is geared for young men growing up without a dad. Now, I don't want to offend the ladies when I say that. I grew up without my dad, so that's my perspective. And I know there's a lot of challenges for those that don't have a dad in their lives, boys and girls. So hopefully I can help with some of that a little bit. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed dinner with Dad tonight, and hope you'll try cooking on your own in the future. If you got questions, let me know. And otherwise, remember that you do have a dad that cares about you. And I will see you on the next video or the next dinner with Dad. Have a great night.